All right, everybody, can I get a drum roll, please? Ladies, are you an entrepreneur that is overwhelmed? You need to get out of one-to-one and hours for dollars. Has your messaging become boring or vanilla? Do you need to build a team? Do you need to have a more clear message to start up-leveling your game and attracting the right clients? Let's get honest. Do you need to get your shit together with your systems and your structure? Do you need to go from a solopreneur to an entrepreneur and hire a team and have help? Do you need to boss up? Do you need to quit treating your business like a hobby, for gosh sakes? Do you want to learn how to make a passive and leveraged income? And quite honestly, who wouldn't want this? But would you like to make more money and work less? If the answer to any of those was hell yes, then you need to get your butt to the once a year Front Seat Life event. It is streamlined, up-leveled, less hoopla, more connection, and it is in the gorgeous downtown Seattle in beautiful September here in Seattle at the Sheraton Grand, September 19th, 20th, and 21st. Thursday night, we're having a party. Friday, I am going to just give every single bit of content to you. No fluff, no bullshit, no hoopla. Just all amazing content and connection and just high level. And then Saturday, we will meet for a half a day. You get to connect with high-level entrepreneurs. You get to be where the action is at. So you might meet somebody in that room that is going to change your life. Get your butt there. Tickets are ridiculously inexpensive. Grab a friend, get yourself here. The room rates are fantastic. You are not going to regret this. I know what you're thinking. I may not be qualified. I don't need this. Let me tell you, 1 year from now, you're going to be in the exact same stuck spot in your job if you don't make this decision now. It is affordable. It's enough days for you to get away. Tell your spouse, tell whoever's in your life, I am going to go do this for myself so that I can finally start taking my business seriously. That's it, friends. Get yourself there. The link to come join us in Seattle is in the show notes, or go over to jessicabutts.com. A pop-up will pop up. It will be the simplest thing you've ever done. There's no digging. You don't have to find it. Go to jessicabutts.com, get yourself enrolled. And I cannot wait to hug you and see you and talk directly to you. It's a small, intimate group, and we will be able to connect, and it will be the best decision you've made in your business in a very, very, very long time, or ever. See you there. Lifers, it is your host Jessica Butts, and I am thrilled to be here with you today with a little something different. So I've been doing this for a long ass time. I was a psychotherapist for many years, and now I am a coach. As most of you know, I do some life coaching, entrepreneurial coaching, all the coaching. And one of the themes that I see over and over and over, and quite honestly, it's why I actually shifted from doing psychotherapy into coaching, because I find people need some truth bombs. I need truth bombs. People need truth bombs. My clients need truth bombs. Sometimes we need to be coddled. Sometimes we need to be hugged. Sometimes we need to look at the past and, dig in and do the work. And sometimes we just need some fucking truth in our life. And so that's what this new segment is going to be. I'm going to be sharing some shorter episodes with you, not a guest on the show, but just some real truth bombs that I see that my clients need often. And when they hear them, it is like a light bulb going on. It is very much a holy shit, a little slap in the face, a little bit of a fire hose to the face, but often we need that. I know that that is where my greatest learning has often come from, is when someone in my life, whether it's my mastermind, my coach, my mom, my sister, somebody I love in my life, is that honest with me. And it hurts. It does. It hurts in the moment. And it hurts because it's true. If it's not true, it doesn't matter to you. And so it's going to be interesting to hear your guys' responses from some of this, because I believe some of you may be met with resistance. Some of you may want to, say bad things, but I am doing this to be of service to you because I know that this is what I need to hear. And this is always what gets my clients unstuck. So the new episodes are going to be #truthbombs. And back in when I was in business school, right after graduate school, I went to business school and I got named Jessica, air quotes, kick butts. So Jessica kick butts. And I'm bringing her back. It's funny. I haven't used that language in a very long time. And I'm bringing her back. So stay tuned. Today is going to be the first episode of that. And I'm excited to bring it to you. So hang tight. Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Hello, Front Seat Lifers. It is Jessica Butts, your host. And today, I'm literally wringing my hands as I'm saying this, thinking about today's topic. This is the first of a bunch of episodes I'm going to do about some shorter episodes around some truth bombs. And as a former psychotherapist, seeing couples mostly, and then being a coach for the last many years, I see a lot of patterns. And today's topic is something that comes up over and over and over again, not just with my clients, but with me. And that is resistance. Stephen Pressfield is really the expert on resistance. If you haven't already listened to Stephen Pressfield and Oprah's podcast episode, I would go back and listen to that. He does a brilliant job, and I'm not even going to try to, recreate his brilliance, but he talks very candidly about all the things that resistance is and how it shows up. So I'm going to use some of his work today, a couple other people. I'm going to, give credit where credit is due. But this is something that, again, I continue to see over and over and over again in my own life and in my clients. So today I want to talk about, on the Truth Bomb episode, 4 main questions. So let me go through those. Number 1, what does resistance look like? I actually think a lot of people don't even understand what resistance is in their life. They might even be having resistance, but they don't even realize that that's what it is. Number 2, why does it show up? Number 3, what can we do to fix it? Because I hate to leave you with a bunch of horrible things and then not give you some solutions. And then number 4, and this actually came from a listener. I got this amazing email from this great listener, and she wrote a really powerful question. It actually stopped me in my tracks a little bit. But when do you know it's just a sign, or when do you know that it's resistance? So I'm going to do my best to talk to you about some of those things today. So let's start with number 1. What does resistance look like in our lives? Again, go back, possibly read some of Stephen Pressfield's work, go listen to that Oprah episode with him. But what it looks like, just to, again, very truth bomby, just to go through this very quickly, it looks like oversleeping, getting angry, blaming somebody else, victimhood. If you've never looked at the victim triangle before, that's something you should probably go look at. Are you a victim? Are you a persecutor? Do you have codependency? So resistance also looks like codependency, which means you either manage or control somebody else in your life, or you let others manage and control you. Anytime you over anything, it's resistance. You overeat, overshop, oversleep, oversex, overexercise, overdrink, over whatever. Anytime you do something in excess, typically you are avoiding something in your life. So that can be resistance as well. Excuses, all the excuses. I don't have any money. I don't have any time. I'm not smart enough. I can't do that. I don't have the right education. Don't have the right family of origin. I don't have whatever. Any excuse that comes up, anything that comes up. And by the way, everyone has resistance. Everybody has this. Anytime we feel unempowered. So, oh God, I see this all the time. Everyone experiences it, right? Someone pisses you off. Oh, it's their fault. I'm going to blame them. I'm not going to take responsibility for my own actions. All that shit is resistance. All of it is resistance. Shame and getting angry at others. Oftentimes, resistance shows up in, I don't like that person. They're annoying. I don't want to do the thing. Anytime we're like making some sort of excuse about that other person, check in on whether or not that is resistance. It doesn't mean we're going to like everybody for sure, but resistance shows up in those kinds of crazy ways. So moving on. Number 2, why does resistance show up? So there's a couple of people I want to reference here. So Stephen Pressfield, again, definitely a big person in this industry, in this topic. But also, I think Gay Hendricks in The Big Leap talks about resistance in a different way. He doesn't call it resistance in his book, but if I'm putting kind of all of my former clients together, and if I look at these different books and all of these different visuals, I'm a very visual person. Are you a visual person? Like everything to me is a picture in my head. And the picture that always comes up to me around resistance and why it shows up is in The Big Leap. And he talks about our ego. And our ego is in place to keep us, I'm using air quotes on a podcast, safe, but also complacent. That's the word that I actually use, because safe sometimes can be a good thing, but in my mind, in my world, complacency is never okay. Complacency is never, ever, ever okay. But it shows up when, as Gay Hendricks talks about in The Big Leap, when we are where we are today and where we want to get to. So there's 2 different hands. So if you put on your left hand where you are today, and then that dream that you have on the other side, that's your right hand. In the middle of that is your ego and resistance. And every single one of us, 100% of us, I mean, this has to be a fact, right? That every single person hits ego to keep us complacent, which I believe actually is the devil. I really, truly believe that. I've had people have resistance on that, but everyone gets their own belief. I believe God wants good things for you. I believe God gives you visions for the future. Big Elizabeth Gilbert talks about it in Big Magic, that it's like a butterfly that comes and lands on you. And ideas. I believe God brings you those ideas. The universe, whatever you believe in, brings you those ideas for a reason. Every single person in the world has different visions. That right hand of all of those things that you want, everyone has a different vision. When I'm with my clients at our quarterly meetings, I have them do this exercise, this miracle exercise, that you go to bed tonight and you wake up tomorrow and it's 5 years down the road and your life is perfect. Or not even 5 years down the road, because I don't want people to lose 5 years, but you just wake up and it's your ideal life. And every single person in that room, all of those men and women, have a different vision, because we all are unique human beings, obviously, and have different visions. Therefore, it is our responsibility to, 1, have those visions. But it is also our job to understand why it shows up. That it's a thing. It's going to show up. Every fucking person has it. Everybody. I'm pretty sure Stephen Pressfield, of course he has it. He wrote a book on it. When he was writing some of his novels, he was like, this resistance thing is a real bitch. Everyone has this. And so that's the first step is really accepting that we're all going to have it. So this is number 2, is why does it show up? I again believe it's God. I mean, the devil showing up, trying to keep us small. It's our own internal system, our ego. Our ego is a thing that is inside of us, keeping us complacent. It then becomes our job, which is number 3. So number 1 was, what does it look like? What does resistance even look like? Number 2, why does it show up? I believe those 2 reasons, to keep us small and it's the devil. Number 3, what can we do to fix it? Now this is the fun conversation, right? We have to have the awareness that it shows up and then how it shows up in our life. So if you're listening right now, you might want to pause this or write, do a voice note into your note section of your cell phone of what does resistance look like for you? Everybody is different. Sometimes this is personality related and sometimes it's just human being related. So different personality types based on our front seat and back seat, this can show up in different ways. Mine is absolutely to retreat. But it's interesting because it's 2 ways. I get super agitated and irritated, and then I also shut down. And so again, what is your version? Because we have to be able to identify it. When it shows up, you then get to have a new awareness of like, oh, that thing is here. That resistance is here. That ego ball is here. That devil is here. I get it, I see it, and now what am I going to do about it? Because if you don't even have awareness about it, you can't do number 3. So number 3 is, what can we do to fix it? So the first thing is, and this is a hard one for a lot of people, and it ain't pretty, but it's turning the mirror back on yourself. So, as a therapist, I probably saw this more than anything else, is I would see couples, because that's who I worked with and I loved it, sitting in an office and just blaming the other person. She does this, he does this, she wants this, all the stuff. And it's always put on somebody else. So it's, in grad school, we used to talk about it. Like that's putting the mirror on somebody else. It's victimhood, it's blame, it's whatever. We have to turn that mirror. I'm literally like turning it, thinking about that on ourselves. And if you just had that visual, it's intense. It's a lot to think about turning that mirror towards ourselves and looking at ourselves. How am I reacting to this situation? So knowing that our attitude and our reaction to everything is the only thing we can control. And here's my third reference of the podcast. Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning talks about this better than anybody. There is always a stimulus. Always. There's always going to be a jerk. There's always going to be a bad review. There's always going to be someone who cuts you off in traffic. There's always going to be a bad person at the grocery store, whatever. Always, 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 always. That part you can bet on. The other thing that you can bet on is that you have no control over that. You have no control. And, the serenity prayer is one of the best prayers there are out there. One of the best things that you can say to yourself. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And this right now is exactly what we're talking about. You can't fix that other person or the situation, but what you can control is your response to that stimulus. And that might look like setting a boundary. That might look like cutting off a relationship. That might look like taking a break. That might look like quit blaming the other person. That might look like I need to step up and put my big girl panties on and get back into the world. It looks like getting back into your front seat. So instead of sitting in resistance, resistance is blaming other people, making excuses. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Do you not? Do you not? I mean, here's what's fascinating is my coach years ago gave me this exercise called 50 ways. And she made us do this. 50 ways to make money. Because we get so wrapped up in, I don't have the time and I don't have the money. When we can sit down and think about 50 different ways that we can make money, or to think outside the box, and again, 50 might be a lot. I thought it was a lot back then, but even just thinking outside the box, how can you create more time? I can't get up early. This is what I hear all the time. I can't get up early. Why? Why not? I got up at 5 today to do this podcast because the rest of my day is insane. And also the groomers come outside and do all the lawn and it gets super noisy. But again, that's just an excuse. I can't. Why not? Why? I only make this much money. Well, how else can you make some money? Where else do you have money? Could you get a part-time job? Do you have money in a 401k? There's so many ways to think outside the box. I remember when my sister needed to make some more money. She got another job. She had like 3 full-time jobs at the same time. But this is what you do when you don't want to be in resistance. Don't say I can't. Say, how can I? How can I do this? Oh my God, right? It's so disempowered. I can't. That person making excuses, feeling oppressed or suppressed, or just feeling sorry for yourself. It doesn't mean we all don't. Trust me. I absolutely feel sorry for myself. And I often will either call myself out or I have people in my life. Yesterday, it was my assistant. I put this on my Instagram stories today. I was having a moment. I just was over it. We've got 2 events this month. I'm out of my mind. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And I just was over it. And basically, she just said, I love you and you need to get the fuck over yourself. Like, you got shit to do in this world. People are counting on you. I'm counting on you. The team is counting on you. We are counting on you. Get over yourself. Put your big girl panties back on and get going. And as I said in my Insta stories, she and I have a very open relationship. And I said, in my head to her, fuck you, Stephanie. And then I just went for it. I just said, you're right. You're right. Like, screw this. And I just was on fire because I was in resistance. I was in victimhood. I was in woe is me. I was in I can't do this. And the reality is, within a moment, I was able to pull myself out of it because of somebody in my life who called me out on it. Sometimes it will be you. Sometimes it's a coach. Sometimes it's a friend. But that's also sometimes why we need coaches, right? Or like real truth tellers in our life, because friends might coddle you and other people are like, get the fuck over yourself. That's what you need sometimes. So before we wrap this up, number 4 is this is such a great question. When do you know it is just a sign that this isn't working or it's resistance? I don't have the magic answer. Like, I wouldn't, package this and put it in a bottle and sell it as a product. But this is, my experience and my instinct on the answer to this is, first of all, always asking yourself the question is, do I have a pattern of giving up? Do I have a pattern of when things get tough, I run? Or do I have a pattern of holding on too long? And some of that is personality type. Some of that, J's, we are very controlling and want things the way that we want it. And we get tunnel vision and we just push and push and push and push. And sometimes that can be a negative thing. Like, sometimes we need to just let it go. And then P's, but both of us have negatives. P's oftentimes give up. They meet resistance and are like, I'm going to go squirrel. I'm going to go do this thing. I'm not going to stick to this. I'm not going to build the house of my business. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go squirrel and be on to the next thing. So that is when this gets tied back to our personality type for sure, is what is your pattern? So that's the question number 1. In question number 4 is, when do you know it's a sign or resistance? We got to know our own patterns. And then number 2, I think time tells whether or not it's a sign or it's resistance. So I'm just speaking from like personal experiencing, watching clients over the last 10 plus years. I believe time will tell you whether or not you're supposed to be doing the thing. But the problem is most people don't give it time. They hit that ego ball of resistance. So think about that handed thing again. So this is the visual I have, is that we're trying to get to our right hand, but we're at our left hand. We're at where we are now, and we want that goal over here. We go towards that goal and we hit this ego ball of resistance. I'm such a visual person. Everything is a visual. And so that ball, that ego ball is an exercise ball. You know, those bouncy balls at the gym. So you run, you hit that. And you run, and you hit it again. Unfortunately, most people hit that ego ball, especially P's, one time. And they give up. Oh, this must be a sign. I could not disagree more with that. I believe that is the universe testing you, saying, do you want it enough? Are you willing to actually change your behavior to get to the result that you want? Because shit ain't easy, people. Think about anything hard in your life. An excellent relationship. That shit takes work. A body that you feel good in. That shit takes work. Building a business that you're proud of. I know for sure that takes work. Whatever the thing is that you want on the other side is not going to come easy. They say there's a saying, nothing in life comes easy. You got to work for it. You got to work for flow. Flow does not happen naturally. And I think that's what people give up on, is they say, oh, this shouldn't be so hard. I kind of disagree. I think you need to put in some freaking effort. You got to put in some effort to find out if it's the right thing for you. So time will tell you. If you keep pushing the boulder up a hill, then you get to give up. And I don't know how long that is. You know, that's the thing. I can't package that up in a little, pill and sell it. I don't know how long, but your intuition will know. You will know at some point. Time will tell you if it's a sign or a resistance, but you do not get to give up on the first, second, third, maybe even the fifth try. You gotta keep going. You have to push through the resistance. It is there for a reason. I think we have to prove to the universe that we actually want that thing. And then in closing, I will say, the last thing about, is it a sign or resistance, is this thing that you are doing in alignment with the vision for your future? So one of the biggest things that I see my clients do, I am definitely not this person because I do this ad nauseum, is that I make sure that what I am doing right now, today, is in alignment with that vision that I have. So my vision is at least 5 years down the road, always. I'm old. I'm 46 now, and I've got it till about 50 of how I want my life to be then. And then it will keep going past that. That is what keeps the momentum moving forward today. This is the difference between throwing spaghetti on a wall, throwing darts at no dartboard. Like, you have to have a purpose. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? All my clients, I ask them all the time, like, I'm on board with this as long as you can prove to me that there's a purpose. Like, oh, I want to go start a podcast, or oh, I want to go do this online program. Oh, I want to go do this thing. That's fine. But let's talk about timing, first of all. And then, is that in alignment with the long-term vision? Because otherwise, we can spend 6 months sometimes in our life or business, like wasting time doing something that is not even in freaking alignment with where we're going. That's resistance. That's another form of resistance, is squirreling. How did I not say that already? Resistance comes in forms of giving up, squirreling, all over the place, flitting from thing to thing to thing. That is total resistance. And it is our job to make sure that we know what we're doing has a freaking purpose. I think I'm done. I mean, I feel like I could talk about this for like 4 days, which I probably will at another time. But these are supposed to be truth bombs, and I don't even know how long in. All right. I love you guys. I love you listening. I love this topic. I am excited to be on the other side of the event. I'm not going to lie. It's been a crazy month. I'm excited to be on the other side of this to bring you all the fall goodness. There's so many wonderful episodes coming up. I will keep some of these truth bombs coming. And we are going to be talking about definitely getting ready for the new year as well. So excited to talk to you today about this, and also excited for upcoming episodes. Talk to you next week. All right, everybody, I have a confession to make. I have a new obsession, and that obsession is reading your ridiculously wonderful, loving, amazing reviews on iTunes. I love them. None of this even matters without all of you. So as a thank you, each week I will be reading one review on air and calling out your review with your name or your iTunes handle. So here's how it's going to go. You're going to go to Instagram and follow me at Front Seat Life. When you hear your name called out on the podcast, you are going to send me a DM with your address and say, "Oh my gosh, you just read my review." And I or my team will be sending you some Front Seat Life swag. We've got books, and we've got tank tops, and we've got journals, and we have these adorable pink swells. So we will be choosing from the goodie bag and sending it out as a thank you. So thank you in advance, and I am so deeply honored to have the opportunity to thank you back. Today's review comes from BAMANE, Bamane, and it is a lovely, beautiful 5-star review, and the title is Great Podcast. And then she goes on, or he goes on to say, "Great podcast, really interesting to listen. Jessica, respect to you for your great work and bringing insightful messages about love, life, and business to your listeners. Short and sweet. Thank you so much." From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.